So I am going to get started today. So guys, welcome so much for being here. I am so super excited. Um, so today I'm going to be covering, this is a workshop, which I think is amazing because I've never covered this before. So as you guys hop in, if you'd like to share where you're from, I am happy to have you. I'm happy to share my brilliance with you. I am honored that you took the time to be here. So, a little bit I want to share with you guys. So, today I'm going to be sharing a part of my growth. Okay. So, my name is Maria Fontana. For those who don't know me, I am a 38-year, how could I be that old, right? A 38-year business owner, salon owner, hairstylist, right? I've been behind the chair. I've owned 11 salons. Um, I've written two best-selling books, and I launched 16 years ago a coaching consulting business because I realized that I needed a plan B for myself, right? I was like, you know what? I really need a plan B. What happens, years from now if I need to, do something different, or if I need to, be out from behind the chair. Like I realized I was vulnerable, right? Now, while being a salon owner and hairstylist has been like the most beautiful and powerful job I had in career, I raised two children as a single mom with my businesses, and I've been uber successful. But I decided to step into a new phase of myself. Before this happened, I hit a wall. I went through massive loss, divorce, financial destruction. I lost my business. I lost my home. I lost my mind, basically. And I found myself depressed, overweight, and just hating myself every day. I had this little baby, my Isabella. I had my ex-husband was massively dysfunctional. He had a lot of issues, and I just felt alone, scared, and thought to myself, how the fuck did I get here? Mind you, because simultaneously I had been super successful in my business. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. And this is how the journey, and I'm sharing this so you guys can comprehend the backstory. Through this crashing and burning, through this massive pain, through this massive being stuck, through this massive feeling horrible, depression, overweight, not feeling good, just not understanding what the hell was happening in my life, I decided to start working on myself. So one of my clients who was going to a therapist handed me a business card. And she said to me, Maria, when you're ready, call Norma. And at the time, mind you, I was like out of my mind at the time, riddled with anxiety, couldn't sleep, was in the emergency room a few times a week because I thought I was having a heart attack. I had this baby who was colicky crying, a ex-husband who was a husband at the time cheating. It was like overwhelmed. And I remember thinking, why did this lady just give me this card? How dare she? Because that's where I was at the time. So I'm going to fast forward to today. I worked on myself. I think I started, my daughter's 23. So the journey started 23 years ago. I was already in my 40s, right? And it was a process. I had to really dig deep and do a lot of healing work. And doing this healing work, I remember sometimes that I was like, what the hell are they talking about? Like to my therapist, to the books I was reading. This was all so, people around me weren't supportive because I came from, well, you're a hairdresser. Well, you're a hairstylist. What do you mean you're starting on? What does that mean? You're starting an online business. This was all an evolution. And grace is what I learned to give myself. So thank you for being here. In the next 3 days, I'm going to try and keep it down to a half hour. Sorry, I just took all this time explaining my backstory. But I wanted to just share that I share grace 2 times a year, and I'll tell you why. My mainline practice is I'm a business coach, right? And I help mostly beauty, wellness, salon owners, and biz entrepreneurs bring their business online and expand their wealth and create freedom, right? Because that's what I did with myself. From brick and mortar, from being a salon owner, I became a thriving, successful online coach, right? With people saying you couldn't do it, with not knowing tech, with, no support. And I have a very lucrative practice now, and I travel and I have a home in Italy and blah, 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 and all the juicy stuff. Point is, all the business strategy and tactics that I teach everyone, because I've helped hundreds of salon owners and beauty and wellness professionals start their coaching, consulting, and online mentoring businesses. But my secret sauce is the grace factor, because I can teach everyone all the business stuff, but without the personal growth, without the healing, without shifting the bullshit that goes on in your head, you're not going to get success. So let's get started with grace. First and foremost, I want you guys all to, with me, I want you just to put your feet on the ground if you can. If you're driving or listening to me, wherever you're listening to this, don't do that, obviously. But I want you to just take a nice deep breath with me. Ready? Again. And I want you to just ask your intuition, your soul, your inner light, your guidance, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, to allow you to receive what I'm going to be putting down in the next 2 days so that you can actually implement it and change your life. Come on back in the room, guys. All right. So first and foremost, I did share a workbook in the links that I shared with you guys. You can download it. You can print it. It's just a little guide and workbook. I teach my classes intuitively, so I don't follow a script. I just get downloads from the divine. I get downloads from my intuition, my higher self, my friggin' brilliance. And that's how I teach my classes. And I want you guys to remember something. Your brilliance is inside of you. Your light's inside of you. So if you have to overthink anything, that is not your true essence. That's not your intuition. That's ego. That's outside forces. Those are other people's stories. So let's get started. I was called to help you guys with this message. Now, I want to remind every single person watching this, if you registered to join this, there's hundreds of you that registered, that you wanted to feel good enough. You wanted to eradicate self-doubt. You're feeling not sure and trusting yourself, right? I want to hear from all of you, wherever you are, if you're live, if you're on YouTube, if you're in the group, wherever you're watching this, drop me below. Does that resonate? Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's still days that I can get caught up in not feeling good enough. I'll tell you a quick story as soon as I finish this one thought. The fear of success, man, is so much heavier than the fear of failure. You guys know that? I want you to write that down. The fear of success is so much heavier than the fear of failure. And when we talk about personal growth, personal development, this is my take on it, right? You're not changing something because you're not good enough. You're just evolving to the same brilliance that you are. It's almost like a flower. A flower that's closed is beautiful, right? A flower is a flower. This is when you're evolving. This is what personal development is, right? Growth, expansion. Think of a perennial. Like perennial flowers are the ones that come out every year, right? They go through a process. And even when then they seem to die and go back underground, the next year they pop out again because they're in a constant process of evolution. That's what personal development means to me because I realize you are good enough just the way you are. So it's not that you have to improve yourself to prove anything to someone. We're working on our own healing. Now, just a quick, side note here. While I was working on myself with a healer, a therapist, right? Energy healers, I invested in so much different stuff depending on where I was at the time. I began my journey with a hardcore therapist because I had to heal the past core wounds, right? So that's what a therapist helps you do. They help you heal the stuff in the past and snap out of it so you can move forward because our stories are something we just keep telling ourselves. So the first thing I remember thinking to myself was, wow, I want to learn more about this. So I'm going to say, I think it was 2017 or so. I went back to school, full-time salon owner, went back to school, became an integrative healing practitioner. What does that mean? I learned how to be a transformational life coach, learned about energy, guided imagery, and became a certified hypnotherapist because I wanted to know more, right? And in that process, I started to realize that all the personal development started from one thing. You have to change a core belief. So a belief is simply a thought. A belief is a story that has been told to you over and over again. And now it's a story that you play over in your head. So the first thing I want you to do is get out a pen and paper, whenever or wherever you are watching this, unless you're driving, and do this when you get home. You can watch the replay. And I want you to draw a line down the paper. Or you can do it on your phone to a notes. On the left side, I want you to write the story. I'll just give you examples. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know tech enough. No one's going to buy from me. I'm too slow. Anything that could be a belief that you keep thinking about. I'm not sexy enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not lovable enough. Whatever these stories are, they're your stories. Next to that story, right on that same column, I want you to write down, is that true? So I'll give you an example. When my ex-husband kept cheating on me, I became obsessed with the fact that I wasn't sexy enough, that's because it was because I wasn't skinny enough, because I wasn't petite. Like all this bullshit came into my head. This is an example. When I did the exercise and I wrote down, I'm not sexy enough, or I'm not, whatever, good enough. And then I asked myself, because you're going to ask yourself, but is that true? No, that wasn't true. That was just a story that was fed to me by someone who was a narcissist. You see where I'm going with this? Same thing if you have trauma from, like, your parents, caregivers, people that raised us, even though they didn't mean it. That's who caused the trauma. Great book. If you haven't read it, Louise Hay, Heal Your Life. Amazing book. I highly recommend it. And, what happens from the age of 0 to 7 is we get imprinted. We get imprinted with the thoughts, beliefs, and patterns of the people who are raising us, even though they might not mean it. Again, you have to forgive them because sometimes people are only doing the best they could or what they knew how. I had to forgive my parents, right? But again, some of my imprinting was no matter what I achieve, I'm not good enough. No matter how much money I made, it wasn't enough because I was looking for validation. I was looking for someone to actually clap and say, wow. I was looking for outside energy, outside people to actually praise me. So the fear of success was that if I failed, I wouldn't achieve. And then I would never reach getting what I really wanted from the people. And this comes from, like, again, core wounds. You could work with these with a therapist. They could be you were abandoned. They could be you just weren't cared for. Most of the time, I know one of my mentors taught me it's that your needs just weren't met as a child, or something happened. There had to be something that programmed you to be a people pleaser. Me, I was a people pleaser, the fixer. Maria's got it. Maria will do it. Maria will fix it. Maria never said no. Maria's a good kid, good daughter, best wife, great mom, best sister, right? So if the fear of me changing came with the fear of loss. So as you grow, it will be inevitable that you may encounter loss because the people aren't growing with you. So let me just go back to the exercise. So I want you to write down on the left side of the paper all your beliefs. Money's hard to make. I got to work really hard to make money. Because this also is not just about enoughness in yourself. It's about lack mindset. It's about not having enough money. It's about constantly being in struggle mode, constantly being in the lack mindset and scarcity. These are all from not feeling good enough. These are all from you not feeling worthy. But what's going to shock the shitty out of you in these 3 days is you're going to realize that you can change this like that. Now, I am going to share with you privately in our community, and I'm going to actually email it to you, a hypnosis that I've created that will help you shift your subconscious mind. Because the bottom line is this: all personal growth, all the beliefs we have are thoughts and beliefs, and thoughts, beliefs can be changed. It can be changed. If you start shifting what's going on in your subconscious mind, and I know it sounds crazy because when I first started learning this, I'm like, what are they fucking talking about? Are they freaking high? I really didn't buy it because it wasn't something I was ever exposed to. This is science. I'm not talking woo-woo stuff. I'm talking pure science. The energy of thoughts and frequency and beliefs. I want you to look at anyone who's uber successful, multimillionaire, looks like shit's just happening for them easily, money's flowing to them. They're in this zone. I'm gonna challenge you. Their mindset is in a state of abundance. Their mindset, meaning the way they think and believe every single day, is in a place of growth and evolution, right? Oh, I know that's a lot to handle. But the powerful part of this is you believing subliminally that you're not good enough, your self-doubt, lack of self-worth, being scared of what people are going to say about you, especially if you're in a reinvention, because I know a lot of you watching this are part of my reinvention, meaning you may be going from being a hairdresser to being an amazing online educator. And you're doing it, but you're scared shitless because deep down you're like, oh, my peers are judging me. Who do I think I am? I'm not as good as so and so. Well, what do my friends and family think? These are all our own self-sabotaging daggers. So I call it the invisible bat. So the premise of grace is Put down the fucking invisible bat. You see this invisible bat that you've been beating the shit out of yourself with all these years? You're going to put it down. And for today, I want you to do the exercise of left side, the belief, the right side, is it true? And after you write those two things down, so money's hard to make. When I think of that, well, no, it's not. I just have a problem holding on to it. But why? Then next to that, I want you to write down who taught you? Whose story was it that money's hard to make? And I guarantee you it's Uncle Frank, Dad, Mom, Nana, Grandma, Nonna, somebody, right? Oh, you don't need that. That's not necessary. It's about stepping into, and I struggled with guys with this. And this is something I share my Brilliant Business Reinvention. So Grace is part of my Brilliant Business Reinvention program, where I help you launch your uber successful coaching, consulting, online business after coming from the brick and mortar world. We have to shift the way we believe before we can shift the way we are, right? Because if we don't believe it, you're not aligned energetically. So I want you to take these notes today and I want you to do these exercises, but I plead with you, when you do the exercises of the truth story, the story, is it true? And whose story is it? It's the 3 rows, right? I'm not good enough. I'll give you a good one. You can't be an online coach. Who the hell's going to listen to you? You're a hairdresser. Next to it, I had to write, but is that true? I have so much to offer. 38 years of business acumen, personal development. That's not friggin' true. Then I wrote down, whose story was it? Somebody in my family, because it was scary to them. Oh, you're on YouTube? You wrote a book? It's scary to them. That's their story. That's not my story. So I had to give the story back to them. You can love them, but it's not your story. And doing this exercise over and over, you will release step 1 in releasing the story. So I want you to put the invisible bat down for today. I want you to take another nice deep breath. And I want you to remember that you are enough, that you were born enough. And I'm going to imprint this picture in your mind. Take that, imagine yourself as a little newborn baby, a little itty bitty newborn baby, that you were a miracle, that you were born. Because it's like, I don't know what the stats are, but it's like 1 in 2 billion or some stuff. I don't remember the exact numbers. You came to life, you survived. Was that baby perfect? Yeah. So guess what? You're still perfect because you were perfect until someone told you you weren't. You were enough until someone told you you weren't. It's all a bunch of bullshit because it's only a thought. And I'm just so passionate about this because when I learned this and realized it and started implementing it, my life changed. My bank accounts changed. My love life changed. I got remarried to the love of my life. I loved me again. And you can too. So today we're wrapping up day 1. I want you to be loving and kind to yourself. Be gentle and don't judge yourself when you're doing these exercises. And if you feel a little triggered, just take a deep breath while you're doing this. I'm sending you all massive love and light. I can't wait for tomorrow and the next day. I'm going to be deep diving into more practical ways to extrapolate and the negativity, the bullshit, and step into your true essence that you were born into. You are enough. You were born enough. Here's sending you all massive love and light. If you guys know, by the way, any friends that could benefit from this, invite them in. just DM me and I'll send them an invite so they can come and watch the replays or join us live. I love you all very much, guys. See you tomorrow.